Lanka get out of this economic situation? How do you think the IMF, the World Bank would be looking at the unrest that we see in Sri Lanka right now? Images coming out of the presidential palace. Clearly there is anger. There are people who are moving around in the presidential palace, many of them in the president's bedroom, in the swimming pool. This has been building up. There is considerable amount of anger against the Rajapaksas, and this is what we see on display right now. But how would the World Bank, the IMF, and other economic institutions be seeing what's happening in Sri Lanka right now?
A program will have to be in two parts. One is the more immediate measures, which will have to entirely be focused on getting some of these essential imports in. People are suffering without cooking gas, without fuel for all of their basic needs and some key medicines and food items. So the immediate recovery measures have to be focused on that. And I think any new permutation of a multi-party interim administration has to have that front and center on their agenda and quickly engage, like you said, with the World Bank, the IMF, the ADB, and some of our long-standing bilateral partners. Now, no doubt those bilateral partners, not only the multilaterals, will be looking at what comes next. And clearly they're going to notice that any program that, say, the IMF puts forward cannot be your plain vanilla fiscal consolidation program like we've had in many years before. It'll have to necessarily focus on stronger public financial management, stronger checks and balances around how the budget is spent, stronger measures to support the poor. So it's important to note that these are things that necessarily the multilaterals will have to look at, because part of the reason Sri Lanka is in this situation today is because those strong checks and balances weren't there for the finances that the government took on from international partners. So in the short term, I think the new administration will have to re-engage with these partners and convince them that they will focus on these, but also in the near term, ensuring that this, whatever permutation of a multi-party administration has political consensus among themselves, but also ensures that there is public legitimacy for that adjustment and recovery program is essential, because otherwise, like Sri Lanka has done in previous occasions, an IMF program or an macroeconomic adjustment program could get jettisoned because of various party infighting, government infighting, lack of public legitimacy. So I think that near term, beyond these immediate measures, essential measures to keep people's head above water, beyond that, the near term will need to have a contract with the people that money is going to be spent wisely. The most vulnerable will be looked after. Loss-making state-owned enterprises and various other government and politicians' excesses will be clamped down on. And internally, in this multi-party administration that will have different economic ideologies, that they agree on a common minimum program. And just to close on that point, I just saw a tweet by an opposition MP, Harsha De Silva, who has said that a document that several of us had, given suggestions to, it seems that there is a common minimum program that is being worked out. And I sincerely hope that this is something these parties can agree to, because we cannot afford to have this adjustment program derailed in a matter of months or a year. That stability is important.